how hands-on were you, and how did you kind of get that perspective of what a fan you think would want?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of a cumulative affair. You know, everybody throws their opinion in, but largely, uh, I assume you're talking about the second disc with the collection of all that old stuff. My brother, who does a lot of work with us in terms of, you know, he's kind of a intermediary between us and our video projects. And there was a time where he just spent some time in the vault just kind of looking at what we had, cataloging what we had. And he found all this old footage that we'd kind of forgotten about and brought it to our attention. And once we knew about it, we said, well, we'll look for the right opportunity to use all those pieces. And when we decided to do an R30 tour, and then subsequently made the rather late decision to to film one of the shows on R30, it seemed a perfect opportunity to add another disc of all these old pieces.
Was in that you thought, my God, I had totally forgotten about that, and did it kind of impact, I guess, your view of Russia's history at all?
Well, it certainly was interesting to see all that old stuff from Don Kirshner and In Concert series back in 1974 from our very first tour. I'd sort of forgotten about that and hadn't seen that in 30 years.
The one piece from Fly By Night that's on there is the weirdest piece, and that's the one that I totally forgot about. And I remember my brother calling me and saying, there's this really weird footage.
You're playing in a castle.
And there's this weird set, and like, what was that all about? And I racked my brain. I remembered that I think we were filmed that somewhere in Georgia. I think we were playing a high school or a college, and we had a day off, and we got to the venue and saw on another stage there was this play set up, this castle thing. And we said, hey, why don't we just film us in front of this castle, pretend like it's our stage set. So that was probably 75 or
Would have been early 75.
yeah, 75 when that was filmed. And so that's one that's totally surprised me that it still existed. I don't even remember who shot it.
Now, when you were going through it, do you remember, what it was like doing it at all, and how did you feel, looking at it in hindsight? Was there a different perspective, like, oh, that was
On that piece?
yeah.
I just remember very little about shooting it. I remember making the decision. I remember we were in this college or high. I don't remember what it was.
I think it was a high school, actually.
That's what I think, but I'm not 100% sure. And I think maybe it was one of the guys from the record company that actually filmed it at the time. I don't know where we got the camera, or I don't think it was Marvin.
No, it wasn't. I know who it was. He had the dark hair and a beard. Oh, I can't think of his name now. But he was our rep in Atlanta.
Was he?
Yeah, and we went out to dinner with him a few times.
I've
Oh,
seen
maybe
Al. I don't
his name will
remember.
come to me now.
I don't remember anything anymore.
Yeah.
Look at all this the collection for you guys. What do you think is the shining moment out of the two discs? Well, we'll start with you, Alex. What would you say for you is the shining moment?
Geez, I'm not sure what the shining moment would be. I'm very, very happy with the way it turned out. I think this really shows the band in a representation of what the show is really like. I think it probably sounds the way the band sounds sitting out in the house, in that sort of application, in a tighter building. I'm very proud of the way it looks and sounds.
Mm-hmm. And how about for you, Getty? What about you?
I don't know whether I have one particular favorite thing about it aside from, I kind of agree with Alex. It's nice to shoot the band with so many cameras on high definition with a good recording truck, and Alex did a great job mixing the sound. And I just think everybody involved with doing the actual concert part of the of the show really captured us in in a kind of high tech and contemporary way. And I think it's one of the best examples of trying to grab a band's performance and all the details that sometimes are lost in our show.
And getting back to the question I asked first off, I mean, as far as capturing those details, I mean, how hands-on were you as far as making sure that those were,
Well, the video side of things is all done kind of in-house. My brother takes over. He's kind of in charge of overseeing the editing, and he works with certain editors who he has great faith in, and I have great faith in him, and he's got really a good insight into what we're all about. And so he oversees the bulk of editing, and then he brings them to me, and we discuss what's missing, what we need to cover, and we go back and forth like that. So it's really a collaborative effort, and really a lot of the work is done by the editors themselves. And, they spend the time looking through all the material and trying to focus on certain things. And by the time it gets to me, there's very little to do, just tweaking to do. So working with good people always pays off in the end.
And one thing I wanted to ask you about was, obviously coming out on Rounder Records, obviously throughout, I guess, recent history, Atlantic has been the guys. I mean, what's the situation with them? Was Rounder going to be the home for Rush at this point, or?
I don't think it's appropriate to discuss those kind of things. I mean, Rounder distributed Russian Rio, and Atlantic did the audio portion of that. So, we are still signed to Atlantic Records, and Rounder just decided they wanted to have their hand at doing this other DVD. They did such a great job with our first DVD. They wanted to have another go at it, and they worked things out with Atlantic, and that's all you have to really say about it.
Did you use, maybe your Show of Hands and the Rio DVD as a guide, or maybe as a new way of approaching a DVD? Because those live performances, even though some of them are audio, definitely showcase different, put the band in different light.
Yeah. Well, Rio was the filming of a kind of spectacular event. Was the shows that go down in that part of the world are on a huge scale, and the crowds are unlike anything we'd seen before. They're just, so passionate that the whole idea of Rio was to capture that feeling of being in Brazil with these incredible fans that fill the soccer stadium during our show. Whereas with R30, we really wanted to capture the playing, the visuals, focus less on the crowd and less on the venue and the event, and more on representing the songs and performances and the visuals that went into making the R30 tour.
Was it something that you guys had before, the idea for this, before embarking on the tour?
Well, I think it's something that we learned on the previous tour, on the Vapor Trails tour. We had wonderful success with the Rio DVD on many levels, and coming into this, we definitely wanted to have some record of this tour, being the 30th anniversary. But, like Getty pointed out, we have so many great people working on so many aspects of the production of the DVD. To be honest with you, I didn't think much of it. It was another gig, and that's the way you have to kind of look at it, because you don't want it to influence your performance. When you know that the red button is on for record, something usually locks up, and a disaster is somewhere nearby. But when you know that you've got great people looking after everything, you can just go ahead and play and concentrate on that.